Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Rashbi, Rabbi Stephen, with this week's 10-minute Torah, and got some fun things to say, some interesting things to say. But first, I just want to commend. I'm not sure what the right word is, but thank you to everybody that showed up on Monday for our memorial. It was a great honor for me to officiate a service where we remember the 11 people, our brothers and sisters, who are slain for the horrendous crime of being Jews and practicing Judaism in a land where you have freedom of religion. And I can't help, it's hard for me to disguise my resentment and my anger that we Jews have to be oppressed. I've said some things about it. I'm not going to repeat them here. I put my feelings on some of the social media. Some of you have given me your feedback, and I appreciate that. You know, some of it was a little, was kind of, how can I say this? That you disagreed, and that's okay. That's fine. There was some disagreement that went on Monday night when people were talking, and obviously there's a lot of feelings. We have a lot of passion about this. And we must not lose sight when we're expressing this passion that ultimately we're all on the same side. We are all Jews. We all want to be Jewish. We all want to not just be Jews, but we want to practice Judaism. We want to practice in contentment and safety. We don't want to have to fear. So, those are some of the feelings. I will tell you that at our synagogue congregation, B'nai Chaim, the other day we had somebody from the Murata police show up and kind of reassure us that they would step up their monitoring of our facility, of our synagogue, and we thank them very much. We're also looking at other ways to keep everybody protected and safe, because while we do want to be free and expressing ourselves, we also want to keep everybody safe. And I pledge to you that we will do everything we can to do that. Okay, so in that vein, let us discuss Torah. Okay, this is our freedom. Torah is our teaching. Torah is our freedom, because this is the knowledge of Hashem. So, this week, and by the way, before I forget, we are also looking at this week the bat mitzvah of Lauren Weisberg. She's been working very, very hard. We've been doing a lot of practicing. Yes, it will be off-site. But she's doing a great job, and we love it when one of our children becomes a spiritual adult. So kudos to you, Lauren, for working so hard, and for your family to supporting this. And we're sure it's going to be a great affair, and we welcome you into the Klal Yisrael, and you will come back, and you will help us make a minyan. You'll get married under the canopy. You'll have children, etc., etc. So, okay. So, this particular portion is called Toldoth. Generations. These are the Eleh Toldoth. These are the generations of Abraham. So now we have Isaac, who is taking the lead in being our patriarch, being one of the progenitors of our monotheistic religion. And he has taken his wife, Rebecca. And Rebecca is, once again, barren. Once again, prays to Hashem for children. And she has two twins. She has two twins, fraternal twins. Okay, she has Esau, and she has Jacob. Okay, think of the movie Twins, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Maybe not so extreme, but they were very, very different. They were almost on opposite sides of the spectrum. Esau was very, very physical. He had a ruddy complexion. He liked to go out and hunt. He was a very physical person. Some of the rabbis say that he was also given the name Edom, red, because of his ruddy complexion, but also because he was into blood sport. He liked to go hunt. He liked to kill animals. And by the way, hunting is really kind of against the Jewish religion. Why? Because, unless you're an absolute crack shot and you're going to kill the animal instantly with whatever weapon you use, that animal is going to suffer. If you notice in the laws of Shechita, the animal is killed instantly, for food. And when you're hunting, the animal's moving around, you're moving around. Great if you've got a laser sight. Back then they didn't. So what people would do is they would trap the animals, and some say that this was really Isaac's command to Esau, or Isaac's request to Esau later on, as we'll get to that. But Jacob, on the other hand, and also Esau was into idols. He was into paganry. Ultimately, he finds wives from other tribes that are pagans. Jacob was quite the opposite. Okay, He was an Ish Tam, a simple man. He liked to study. They say that there was a time in his life when he went and studied Torah at the Academy of Shem and Eber. There, so he was very much Abraham's grandson, whereas Esau was just kind of the opposite. And it's interesting that these two were in the same womb as Rebekah, that were both descended from Abraham. So let's think about that for a while. In Judaism, we have the concept of the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara, the good force and the evil force. You all remember the cartoons, right? You had the angel on one side and the devil on the other side. And if you notice, I'm pointing right and left because right is the side of justice, right is the side of mercy. I'm sorry, left is the side of justice. So we Jews are torn between this good and evil force, temptation. That's what it's all about. And it's almost as if Esau and Jacob were the embodiment of that. And they came out of the same womb. So Esau came out first, and Jacob came out holding his heel. The Hebrew word for heel is ekav, So, and that, by the way, in Deuteronomy is one of the portions. It's one of the names of one of the portions. So he was given the name Yaakov, holding on to his heel. So Esau, being the firstborn, had a right to the birthright. And we all know the story. Esau was out hunting. He comes in. He's famished. Jacob is sitting there with a bowl of pottage, lentil stew, supposedly he was making it. And the rabbis, the midrash, is that Abraham had just died, and Jacob was making a meal of consolation, for the mourners of Abraham. So Esau comes in. I'm famished. I'm going to die. Give me some of that before I faint. All this. And he was a big, strong guy. He could have waited a little while. And Jacob, looking at the opportunity, said, "Sell me a birthright." Now, the birthright he was talking about, it wasn't about material riches. He wanted the spiritual birthright. He wanted to be the leader of the Jews, of this monotheistic concept, this heritage, this religion, as it was going to be, because he saw the value in it. Esau did not. He said, "Yeah, go ahead, sure. Just give me the pottage already, right, before I die." Right? So it meant nothing to him. The spirituality, right, meant nothing to him. This is who he was. Right? Now, in giving the blessings, let's jump ahead a little bit. So Isaac is near death. He knows he's going to die, and he summons his two sons, and he summons Esau first. He says, "Come, give me meat as I love, and cook it up to me. Give me the venison, which is deer meat, that I love so much. Cook it up that so I may feast, and that I can give you the blessing." So Esau goes out to hunt. And Rebekah, who favored Yaakov because of his manner, because of his religious and spiritual manner, wanted him to get the birthright. So she sets up this deception with him. And we know the story, puts the animal skins on him, gets a goat and cooks it up, and gives it to Jacob to give to Isaac. So, on one hand, Esau's going out to get deer meat, venison, and there's Isaac going out to get a goat. And I guess the moral of the story is, what do they both taste like? Chicken. I'm kidding, of course. There was a difference in taste, let's face it. Goat meat is not the same as deer meat. And however, Isaac, we know his eyes had dimmed from old age, or the fact that it was the incense from Esau's idol worship that blinded him, or the fact that he was on the Akedah, the sacrifice, the altar to be sacrificed, the angel's tears went in and blinded him. Whatever the case was, he was blinded. So he was deceived, gives the birthright to Jacob, and Esau being left out, and he finally reveals himself, and Isaac finds out, discovers he was duped. So, he gives Esau, not quite the blessing he gave to Jacob, but something, and now there's animosity and enmity between the two brothers. So let's revisit this, and I do this almost every year because it's the one portion that really just kind of confounds me, but interests me, and really kind of tugs on my desire to analyze this, because let's think about this, okay? If Jacob was supposed to be the progenitor, the one of the patriarchs of our heritage, why did he just come out first? Why didn't Hashem make him come out first? Okay, one possible answer, okay, Sarah was barren, Rebekah was barren, Rachel, as we're going to see, was barren, so they had to pray to God to be able to have kids. Maybe that's what it is. You always appreciate what you work for. If somebody gives you something, it's like, oh, okay, great, thanks. But if you got to work for it, you appreciate it more. Maybe that's what it was all about. Now, as far as Isaac goes, right, and the Art Scroll Chumash, the Orthodox Chumash, brings up a good point. Isaac couldn't do anything. He was bound by the laws of the time, which says Esau came out first. He's the firstborn. He gets the blessing. That's it. There's no discussion. He hadn't really done anything that Isaac could see that would prevent him from being, the rightful heir, primogenitor, firstborn. So there had to be this deception. And Rebecca, to her credit, saw this and said, I will take the blame. Okay, I will set this up. It will be on me. So she's sacrificing her spiritual righteousness in order to make sure that this happens. So some people say, does that mean the end justifies the means? Well, not really, because this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it has to play out. Jacob has to think as he goes. He's going to need this attitude as he goes by to know that he has to stay true to what is Torah, to what's going to be our heritage. Okay, so consider this. Consider that. So anyway, thank you for listening. Of course, I appreciate it. I'm going to end there. You want more? Come to services. There is this new movement, hashtag Stand Up for Shabbat. And we're going to have Shabbat services. We're going to keep on doing it. We are not going to cower. We are not going to not have services. We're not going to cancel services because of the danger out there. We're going to do it. We're going to be Jews. That's who we are. We stand up for what we believe in, and we're going to do it. Okay? So thank you for listening. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Hashem. Bless all of you. And we look forward to seeing you around.